everyone, it's Hannah. I'm here for another Teen Storytime down here at the Velmatique Library. So this month we're choosing books to share with you that we enjoy. So I have chosen Frankly in Love by David Yoon, which is about a Korean American high school boy and his white girlfriend, which does not go over well with his family. So this is Frankly in Love. All right. Before we begin, well, I have two names. That's what I say when people ask me what my middle name is. I say, well, I have two names. My first name is Frank Lee, L-I. Mom and Dad gave me that name mostly with the character count in mind. No, really, Frankli contains 7 characters, and 7 is a lucky number in America. Frank is my American name, meaning it's my name. My second name is Sungmin Lee, and it's my Korean name, and it follows similar numerological cosmology. Sungminli contains 9 characters, and 9 is a lucky number in Korea. Nobody calls me Sungmin, not even Mom and Dad. They just call me Frank, so I don't have a middle name. Instead, I have 2 names. Anyway, I guess having both lucky numbers 7 and 9 is supposed to make me some kind of bridge between cultures or something. America, this is Korea. Korea, this is America. Everyone good? Can I go do my thing now? Good. The fall season of the senior year of the high school period of early human life. Chapter 1, Lake Girlfriend. Senior year is begun. Is begun sounds cooler than the more normal has begun, because if you say it right, you sound like a lone surviving knight delivering dire news to a weary king on the brink of defeat, his limp hand raking his face with dread. The final breach has begun, your grace. The downfall of House Lee is begun. I'm the king in that scenario, by the way, raking my face with dread. For senior year is begun. Sometimes I look way back to 6 months ago during the halcyon days of junior year, how we pranced in the meadows after taking the PSAT, a practice run of the SAT, which in Playa Mesa, in California, in the United States of America, is widely used to gauge whether an early human is fit for entrance into an institution of higher learning. But the PSAT? A mere trial, we juniors sang. What counts not for your grace? How we lazed in the sunlight sharing jokes about that one reading comprehension passage about the experiment testing whether dogs found it easier to tip a bin, easier, for food, or pull a rope, trickier. Based on the passage and results in figure 4, were the dogs A, more likely to solve the rope task than the bin task? B, more frustrated by the rope task than the bin task? C, more likely to resent their human caregivers for being presented with such absurd tasks to begin with? I mean, just give us the food in a damn dog bowl like normal people. Or D, more likely to rake a paw over their face with dread? The answer was D. For come score day, I discovered I got a total of 1,400 points out of a possible 1,520, the 96th percentile. This earned me plenty of robust, spontaneous high fives from my friends, but to me they sounded like palms slapping the sealed door of a crypt. The target was 1,500. When I told Mom and Dad, they stared at me with pity and disbelief like I was a little dead sparrow in the park, and Mom actually said this, for real, "Don't worry, we still love you." Mom has said the words, "I love you," exactly 2 times in my life. Once for the 1,400 and another time when she called after her mother's funeral in Korea when I was 10. Hannah and I didn't go. Dad was at the store. He didn't go either. In retrospect, it's weird we didn't all go. Secretly, in retrospect, I'm glad I didn't go. I met my grandma only once when I was 6. She spoke no English, me no Korean. So in retrospect, maybe it's not so weird that we didn't all go. Dad has said the words, "I love you," exactly 0 times in my life. Let's go back to that PSAT score. As a leading indicator, a bellwether augury, harbinger, and many other words from the now useless PSAT vocabulary study guide, a score of 1,500 would mean I would probably kick the real SATs high enough to gain the attention of the Harvard, which is the #1 top school in whole of United States, according to Mom and Dad. 1,400 means I'll probably only SAT just high enough to get into the University of California at Berkeley, which in Mom and Dad's mind is a sad consolation prize compared with the Harvard. And sometimes, just for a nanosecond, their brain lock actually has me thinking, Berkeley sucks. My big sister Hannah coined the term brain lock, which is like a headlock but for your mind. Hannah lives in Boston near the other Berkeley, the Berklee College of Music. Berkeley is my real dream school, but Mom and Dad have already nixed that notion. Music? How are you making money? How are you eating? Hannah's two names are Hannah Lee, character count 7, and Ji Young Lee, 9. Dad named Hannah Lee after Honna Lee from a popular 1960s marijuana anthem disguised as a children's song, Puff the Magic Dragon. The song had found its way into high school English classes in Seoul in the 1970s. Dad had never smoked pot in his life. He had no idea what he was singing. Hannah is the oldest. Hannah did everything right. Mom and Dad told her to study hard, so she got straight A's. They told her to go to the Harvard, so she did and graduated with honors. She moved on to Harvard Law School and graduated with a leap big enough to catapult her above assistants her same age at the Eastern Edge Consulting downtown, which specializes in negotiating ridiculous patents for billion-dollar tech companies. She's even dabbling in venture capital now from her home office high atop Beacon Hill. Weekdays, she wears very expensive pantsuits. Weekends, sensible but still very expensive dresses. Someone should put her on the cover of a business travel magazine or something. But then Hannah did the one wrong thing. She fell in love. Falling in love isn't bad by itself, but when it's with a black boy, it's big enough to cancel out everything she did right her whole life. This boy gave Hannah a ring, which Mom and Dad have not seen, and might never. In another family, perhaps on another planet, this brown boy would be brought home for summer vacation to meet the family, and we would all try out his name in the open air. Miles Lane. But we're on this planet, and Mom and Dad are Mom and Dad, so there will be no Hannah this summer. I miss her, but I understand why she won't come home, even though it does mean I'll be left high and dry without someone to make fun of the world with. The last time she came home was a Thanksgiving holiday 2 years ago. She was at a gathering. It was the Chang's turn to host. I'm not sure why she did what she did that night. So I have this boy now, she said, and he is the one. And she held out her phone with a photo of Miles to Mom and Dad and everyone. It was like she cast a silent spell on the room. No one said After a long moment, the phone turned itself off. Mom and Dad went to the front door, put on their shoes, and waited with eyes averted for us to join them. We left without a word of explanation. None was needed. And the next morning, Hannah vanished onto a flight back to Boston 4 days early. A year later, after 6 or 7 Hannah-free gatherings, Ella Chang dared utter the word disowned. And life went on. Mom and Dad no longer talked about Hannah. They acted like she moved to a foreign country with no modern forms of communication. Whenever I brought her up, they would literally avert their eyes and fall silent until I gave up. After a while, I did. So did Hannah. Her text message responses fell from every day to every other day, then every week, and so on. This is how disownment happens. It's not like some final sentence declared during some family tribunal. Disownment is a gradual kind of neglect. Since Mom and Dad gave up on Hannah, Hannah decided to give up as well. I get that. But I never gave up on her. I still haven't. It's a scary thing to watch someone you love vanish from sight. I talk a lot about Hannah with Q. Q is what I call my top chap, and I am his. I'm forever grateful for Q's patience with me, because I can't imagine it makes Q feel all that good to hear how Mom and Dad rejected a boy with the same skin color as his. Q's full name is Q Lee. He, L-E-E, and me, L-I. Like two brothers from Korean and African American mothers. His parents, Mr. and Ms. Lee, are normal people who seem forever astonished that they gave birth to such a mega nerd of a son. Q has a twin sister named Evan, who is so smoking hot I can barely look at her. You say Evanly like heavenly. Q's Q doesn't stand for anything, it's just Q. Q decided to rename himself a couple months ago on his 18th birthday. He was originally born as Will Lee. Show us your Willie, Will Lee, they would say. Good choice on the name change, Q. Like most nerds, Q and I spend our time watching obscure movies, playing video games, deconstructing the various absurdities of reality, and so on. We hardly ever talk about girls, for lack of material. Neither of us has dated anyone. The farthest I ventured out into the girl waters is when I accidentally kissed Gina, I forget, during a game of spin the ballpoint pen in junior high. It was supposed to be on the cheek, and both Gina and I missed and touched each other's lips instead. Ooh. The only time and place we even obliquely approach the subject of a girl is when we happen to find ourselves sitting on the shore of Lake Girlfriend. Lake Girlfriend is at Westchester Mall. Westchester Mall is the biggest mall in Orange County. For some reason, they leave all their doors open well past midnight, long after the stores have shut. The mall becomes a beautifully empty, serenely apocalyptic space that no one in all of Southern California seems to know about. Only 2 security guards patrol all 70 gleaming acres of the deserted mall. Their names are Camille and Oscar. They know me and Q and understand that no, we are not dating. We are just 2 guys with strange ideas of how to pass the time. Lake Girlfriend is a fountain in Westchester Mall's crystal atrium by the Nordstrom anchor store. It is a low-polished structure formed from simple modernist angles. It bears a fancy brass plaque that says, "Do not drink reclaimed water." Above, nameless jazz infuses the cavernous, faceted space with echoey arpeggios. I call it Lake Girlfriend because maybe if I give it enough confessions and offerings, a girl will rise from its shimmering surface and offer me her hand. Q and I sit Taylor style on a stone ledge the color of chocolate by this fountain. We watch the water bubble up from an octagonal pool, push through a stone comb, and descend staggered steps to a pool floor sequined throughout with glimmering coins. I reach into my army surplus rucksack and take out my Tascam, a sweet little device no bigger than a TV remote, and record the sound. Low, rich syrup layered with pink noise and the occasional whip of large bubbles. Practically a complete riff unto itself. I click the recorder off and I stash it away so that Q and I can begin. Ideal traits in a woman, I say. You go first. Q rests his chin atop his fists. Speaks at least 2 other languages. And, I say. Can play the oboe at a professional level, says Q. Q, I say. Ivy League professor by day, ballet renegade by night. I assume this list isn't based on reality, I say. A guy can dream, right, says Q. It's a little hard to hear him over the white noise of Lake Girlfriend, and I think that's the thing about this place that makes it easy to talk about things like ideal girls. It's like talking out loud to ourselves, but in front of each other. Your turn, says Q. I think. 100 faces swirl through my mind, all pretty in their own way. 1,000 combinations of possibilities. Everyone has loveliness inside if you look carefully. Lots of the world is like this. One time I halved an onion and discovered its rings had squashed one by one to form a perfect heart shape at the core. One time, Frank, says Q, you gotta move your mouth to speak. Well, I say, I mean, Q looks at me waiting. Basically, I guess she has to be kind, is most important. Q raises his eyebrows. So, no meanies. Got it. And she should make me laugh, I say. Any other vital criteria, says Q? I think. Anything else? Hobbies, musical tastes, fashion sense? Doesn't seem to matter that much, so I just shake my head no. Q gives the fountain a shrug. That's super romantic, like in the most basic sense. Basically, I say. We both stare at the fountain for a moment. Then I mark the end of our visit to Lake Girlfriend with the ritual digging into my front jeans pocket for sacred coins. One for me, one for Q. Q tosses his in with a fart sound. I give mine a squeeze and flip it into the water. Bloop. The coins are added to the submerged pile of random wishes, good grades, job promotions, lottery dreams, and above all, love. No one comes rising out of the shimmering water. Q doesn't know it, but I've secretly left out one criterion for my ideal woman. It's one I'd rather not say aloud, even though it's the one I worry about the most. My ideal woman should probably be Korean American. It's not strictly necessary. I could care less, but it would make things easier. I've towed the dating waters only twice before, and each time something has held me back from diving in. A paralysis. I think it comes from not knowing which would be worse. Dating a girl my parents hated, or dating a girl my parents loved. Being ostracized or being micromanaged. Then I consider how Korean Americans make up only 1% of everyone in the Republic of California, out of which 12% are girls my age, which would result in a dating pool with only one girl every 3 square miles. Filter out the ones who are taken, the ones I wouldn't get along with, and worse, add in the ideal woman criteria, and the pool gets even smaller. Lake Girlfriend shrinks down to a thimble. So I shelve the notion of an ideal girl for now. I realize I've been shelving the idea for years. A guy can dream, says Q. A guy can dream, I say. And that's the first chapter of Frankly in Love. Check it out from the library if you want to know what happens.